Thank you for your recent purchase of Halo. This video will guide you in the assembly of the Halo cabinet. If at any time you need more detail, please consult the manual included with the game. Important! Please be sure to locate the cabinet assembly in its final location prior to assembly, as moving it following assembly will be difficult. The tools required are a T27 security bit and driver, a 7/16" socket wrench, a 7/16" hex nut driver, a 3/8" hex nut driver or wrench, a 1/4" driver, a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, and 2 6-foot ladders. You will need at least 3 additional people to assist in the assembly of the cabinet. Please allow 2 to 4 hours of assembly time. 1. Unpack all cartons, the left and right main cabinet sections, the left and right control pods, the left and right seat cab sections, and the floor spacer section. 2. Packed inside the large rectangular carton, locate and open the small carton containing the cabinet connector brackets and fasteners. 3. Important! Be sure to have a flat and level surface on which to assemble the cabinet components. Place the 2 main cabinet assemblies against each other. The artwork should face the outsides of the cabinets. 4. Find the keys, taped to the main cabinet fronts, for the main cabinet rear doors. Unlock and remove all 4 rear doors. 5. Assemble main monitor cabinets to the floor spacer assembly. Parts and fasteners required are 2 left and right connector brackets, black, 4 1/4-20 by 1.5" hex bolts, 4 1/4-20 by 2" security bolts, 14 5/8" black flat washers, 4 1/4" lock washers, 3 1/4-20 by 2.5" hex bolts, and 3 1/4" hex nuts. Locate the cabinet connector box and unpack it. Find the black cabinet connector brackets and all required fasteners. Position the floor spacer assembly so that the flat end matches the main cabinet base. Important! Be sure to install the cabinet connector brackets correctly. The round holes in the bracket attach to the main cabinet. The slots in the brackets attach to the floor spacer sides. Insert 2 1/4-20 by 1.25" hex bolts into the holes in the bracket, then into the left inside wall of the left main cabinet front. Snug, but do not tighten. Repeat this step for the right main cabinet. Snug, but do not tighten the 4 1/4-20 by 1.25" fasteners. Locate the cables coming from the 2 main cabinet assemblies. Carefully slide the cables out from the main cabinet and make the matching connections to the left and the right front of the floor spacer assembly. Locate the 6 USB cables. There are 3 for the left and 3 for the right cabinet. Route them from the floor spacer to the back of the main cabinet assembly. Important! If you intend to connect card readers to the game and will be using Ethernet cable, Cat5, you will need to run the cables from the control pod through the cabinet base during cabinet assembly in sections 5 through 8. Do not attempt to do this after the cabinet is fully assembled. Push the 2 main cabinet sections together. Using 2 1/4-20 by 2" black security bolts, 2 1/4" lock washers, and 2 5/8" flat washers, insert the bolts through the holes in the black connector bracket and into the outside of the floor spacer base and secure it. Repeat this step on the opposite side of the floor spacer base. After the floor spacer base has been attached to the main cabinet assemblies, the 2 main cabinet sections can be bolted together. There are 3 mounting points. From the parts box, find 3 1/4-20 by 2.5" hex bolts, 3 1/4" hex nuts, and 6 5/8" flat washers. The flat washers need to be on opposite ends of each bolt. Where the 2 main cabinet sections meet on the inside walls, locate the 3 pre-drilled holes and insert the bolts with washers through the holes. Add another washer on the opposite side of the bolt. Add the nut and tighten. 6. Assemble left and right gun pods to left and right seat cabs. Parts and fasteners required are 4 short silver gray cabinet connector brackets, 12 1/4-20 by 2" security bolts, 14 5/8" black flat washers, 14 1/4" lock washers, and 2 1/4-20 by 1.5" security bolts. Remove the 2 cartons containing the Master Chief Marquee assembly and the accent art panels from both control pod units and set aside. Move the left and right gun pedestal assemblies to their respective positions in front of the main cabinet and floor spacer assembly. Move the left and right seat cab cabinets so they are in line with the left and right control pod sections. Note, there is a left and right control pod. The control pod housing the blue and orange start buttons must be on the left side of the assembly facing the main cabinet. The control pod housing the green and violet start buttons must be on the right side facing the main cabinet. Control pod card reader blanking plates. If you are not using card readers on your game, there are 2 blanking plates used to cover these areas. Parts required: 2 card reader blanking plates. Locate the 2 card reader blanking plates in the parts box. On the right control pod, remove the 5 existing screws from the control panel holding the card reader plate to the control panel top. Remove the card reader plate and install the blanking plate in its place. Replace and tighten the bolts that were removed earlier. Repeat this step for the left control pod. Locate the 4 shorter silver-gray colored cabinet connector brackets for this section. Place 1 set of the connector brackets into each of the 2 control pod cabinets. Install 1 set in the left control pod base and 1 set in the right control pod base. Beginning with the right seat cab, find 3 1/4 by 2-inch black security bolts, 3 1/4-inch lock washers, and 3 5/8-inch flat washers from the parts bag. From the outside of the seat cab base, insert the bolts into the 3 holes through the seat cab base and secure to the connector bracket. Do not tighten, just snug the bolts. You will want some movement as you are assembling the remainder of the cabinet. Repeat steps 6A through 6D for the left seat cab assembly. Pull the seat cab cables through the control pod base completely so they are exposed on the opposite end of the control pod base. Be sure to route this cable so that it comes through on the centermost opening of each control pod base. Push the seat cab control pod assembly forward and mate it to the floor spacer, paying close attention not to pinch any cables inside. Using 3 of the 1/4 by 2-inch black security bolts, 3 1/4-inch lock washers, and 3 5/8-inch flat washers from the parts box, insert the bolts and secure the seat cab base to the control pod base. Repeat steps 6D through 6G for the left seat cab control pod base. Using 2 1/4 by 1.5-inch security bolts, secure the floor of the control pod to the floor bracket in the seat cab. Tighten all cabinet bolts at this time. 7. Connect the right and left seat cab and control pod cabinets to the floor spacer. Fasteners required are 8 1.25-inch hex bolts, 8 1/4-inch lock washers, 12 1/4 by 2-inch black security bolts, and 12 5/8-inch black flat washers. Locate 4 of the long gray silver brackets from the parts box. Position each bracket in each control pod channel at the base of the cabinet. Starting with the right control pod assembly, insert 2 1/4 by 1.25-inch hex bolts and lock washers into the holes on the inside walls of the base opening. Snug, but do not tighten the bolts. Repeat this step on the opposite side of the right control pod. Repeat steps 7A and 7B for the left control pod assembly. Align the right control pod seat cab assembly with the right side of the main cabinet floor spacer. Make the cable connections. Important: each USB connection is labeled. Match all USB connections with their corresponding labels throughout the assembly process and do not mix them up. Important: if you intend to connect card readers to the game and will be using Ethernet cable, Cat5, you will need to run the cables from the control pod through the cabinet base during cabinet assembly in sections 5 through 8. Do not attempt to do this after the cabinet is fully assembled. Carefully and without pinching any cables, slide the right control pod and seat cab assembly to the right portion of the floor spacer. Move the orange cable coming through the center downward and ensure that it does not get pinched between the 2 cabinets. This will be connected to the floor marquee in section 8. Using 2 1/4 by 2-inch security bolts and 2 5/8-inch flat washers, secure the top of the floor spacer to the right control pod connector bracket. Repeat these steps 7D through 7H on the left control pod assembly. 8. Install the triangular floor marquee. Fasteners required are 4 1/4 by 1 1/4-inch hex bolts and 4 5/8-inch plated flat washers. Remove the triangular marquee assembly from its box and find the required fasteners taped to the assembly. Remove the 4 screws attaching the art piece and remove the art piece. Feed the cables inside the box and connect them. Position the triangular marquee box cornered between the two cabinet sections, and using 4 1/4-20 1¼ hex bolts and washers, bolt the triangular marquee box to the two cabinet sections as shown. Replace the top cover art and reinstall the 4 fasteners that were removed earlier. 9. Install the marquee brackets and logo marquee. Fasteners required are 8 1/4-20 by 2½ inch security bolts, 10 1/4-20 by 3/4 inch Phillips head screws, 4 5/8 inch plated flat washers, 4 5/8 inch black flat washers, and 4 1/4-20 nuts. Locate and unpack the Master Chief Halo Fireteam Raven marquee assembly. Using a 1/4 inch driver, loosen and remove the screws securing them to the pallet. Discard screws and pallet. Remove the left and right Halo marquees from their cartons and find all mounting hardware. Using 6 1/4-20 by 3/4 inch Phillips head screws, attach the rear marquee mounting bracket to the top of the main cabinet assembly and tighten. Using 4 1/4-20 by 3/4 inch Phillips screws, attach the front marquee mounting bracket to the top of the seat cab assembly. Attach only the right side of the bracket and leave the left side loose for now. Please note, depending on leveling, the holes on the right side of the bracket may not align with the holes on the left side of the bracket. If this occurs, use the 2 sheet metal screws in the spare parts bag to secure the left side of the bracket after the assembly is complete. With the help of an assistant, lift the marquee sections, left and right, to the top of the right and left sides of the cabinet assembly. Feed the cables down through the hole in the front and rear marquee mounting brackets and set the marquee sections on the brackets. Repeat steps 9C through 9E for the left side. Please note, the right side Halo marquee has a cable connection at both ends. The left Halo marquee assembly has only one. Find 4 1/4-20 by 2½ inch security bolts, 8 5/8 inch flat washers, and 4 1/4-20 nuts and fasten the Halo marquee to the front marquee bracket. Align the mounting holes of the marquee with the mounting holes in the marquee mounting bracket. From the outside of the bracket, insert a screw and washer, then add another washer and the nut on the inside and tighten. Repeat this step for the opposite side. Find 4 1/4-20 by 2½ inch security screws and 4 5/8 inch flat washers and attach the Halo marquees to the rear mounting brackets. Hex nuts are not required for the rear mounting. From the outside of the frame, align the marquee frame mounting holes with the mounting holes in the bracket and insert 2 screws and flat washers into the threaded holes and tighten. Repeat this step for the opposite side. Tighten all fasteners at this time. 10. Assemble the Master Chief Halo Fireteam Raven marquee front topper. Fasteners required are 9 1/4-20 by 3/8 inch black Phillips screws. Locate and unpack the Master Chief Halo Fireteam Raven marquee assembly and fasteners. Carefully lay the Master Chief assembly face down on a clean surface. Using 9 1/4-20 by 3/8 inch screws, attach the Master Chief lower support bracket and the upper hanger bracket to the back surface of the Master Chief Halo Fireteam Raven marquee as shown.
So these are all just non-washer, washer. 2 center ones need washers because there's slots there.
11. Attach the Master Chief marquee assembly to the top of the front cabinet assembly. Fasteners required are 2 1/4-20 by 1 inch hex bolts, 2 1/2 inch sheet metal screws, 2 1 inch fender washers, 2 1/4-20 by 3/8 inch Phillips screws, and 4 5/8 inch black flat washers. With the help of an assistant and a ladder, raise the assembly to the front portion of the cabinet and place it over the mounting holes in the cabinet. Attach the assembly by first attaching the upper hanger bracket to the mounting bracket in the slot as shown. Next, align the bracket with the mounting holes in the cabinet. Use 2 1/4-20 by 3/8 inch Phillips screws and 2 5/8 inch flat washers and tighten. Route the power cable through the bracket and connect it. Align the mounting holes on the bottom marquee bracket to the mounting holes in the top of the cabinet. Using 2 1/4-20 by 1 inch hex bolts, fasten the Master Chief Halo Fireteam Raven marquee topper assembly to the cabinet top. 12. Attach the rings. Fasteners required are 8 1/4-20 by 2 inch security bolts, 4 1/4-20 by 1/2 inch security bolts, 4 1/4-20 by 1 inch hex bolts, 12 5/8 inch black flat washers, and 4 5/8 inch plated flat washers. Locate and unpack the 2 ring cartons. Find all necessary mounting hardware attached to assembly. Loosen the brackets at the end of the assemblies. There are 4 brackets. With the help of an assistant and a 6-foot ladder, remove one of the ring assemblies from the carton, and with 2 additional assistants, raise the assembly and rest it on the top of the left side of the cabinet assembly. Be sure the ring is facing the correct direction according to the mating brackets on the top of the cabinet. Align the mounting holes on the front ring section with the mounting holes in the brackets on top of the cabinet. Lift the rear portion of the ring and route the cable into the hole in the top of the rear cabinet. Insert 2 1/4-20 by 2-inch security bolts and 2 5/8-inch black flat washers into the sides of the ring assembly brackets located above the seat cab and tighten. Install 2 1/2-inch security bolts through the bracket ends facing downward and tighten. Install 2 1/4-20 by 1-inch plated hex bolts and 2 5/8-inch plated flat washers through the rear bracket and into the top of the cabinet. Repeat steps 12B through 12G for the right side ring. 13. Attach the Fireteam Raven accent art. Fasteners required are 8 1/4-20 by 3/4-inch black hex bolts. Locate and unpack the left and right Fireteam Raven accent art panels. Using 4 1/4-20 by 3/4-inch hex bolts, attach the right figures to the right-hand side of the front marquee mounting bracket. The mounting holes in the parts will reveal the correct alignment. Using 4 1/4-20 by 3/4-inch black hex bolts, attach the left figures to the left-hand side of the front marquee mounting bracket. The bottom bolts are inserted from the front. The other 2 bolts are inserted through the back side of the accent art panels, then into the brackets. These are accessed from the inside of the seat pod. Do not over-tighten. 14. Attach Master Chief accent art. Fasteners required are 6 1/4-20 by 3/4-inch black hex bolts. Locate and unpack the left and right Master Chief accent art panels. Using 3 1/4-20 by 3/4-inch black hex bolts, attach the right Master Chief accent art panel to the right-hand side of the rear marquee mounting bracket. Do not over-tighten. Repeat steps 14A and 14B for the left-hand side. 15. Drop marquee power cables through the cabinet rear top. Run the power cables for the Halo marquee through the holes provided on the top of the main cabinet assemblies as shown. 16. Attach ceiling panel to inside of cabinet. Fasteners required are 4 1/4-20 by 3/8-inch security bolts and 4 5/8-inch black flat washers. Locate and unpack the ceiling panel. This is a corrugated plastic part that attaches to the inner sides of the ring and at the inside front marquee bracket. You will need a ladder and an assistant. There are 2 mounting bolts that attach the ceiling panel to the front of the cabinet assembly and 2 that attach it to the rear of the cabinet. With an assistant, position the ceiling panel at its mounting points. Be sure the bend is in the same direction as the tabs on the front mounting bracket. Now attach the front bracket of the ceiling panel to the front marquee bracket. Align the ceiling panel bracket over the holes and attach with 2 1/4-20 1/2-inch screws and flat washers. Now align the rear ceiling panel tabs over the holes in the sides of the rings. Attach with 2 1/4-20 1/2-inch screws and flat washers. Install top of seat cab blanking plates. Parts required are 2 square blanking plates, 8 number 8 by 1/2-inch security wood screws, 6 1/4-20 by 1-inch security screws, 6 5/8-inch flat washers. From the parts box, locate one of 2 square blanking plates and 4 of the number 8 by 1/2-inch security wood screws. On the top of the right seat cab and to the right of the Master Chief marquee, cover the large speaker hole with the plate and install 4 number 8 by 1/2-inch wood screws into the holes and fasten the plate to the top of the seat cab as indicated. Find 3 1/4-20 by 1-inch security screws and 3 5/8-inch flat washers from the parts box, and using the 3 screws and washers, fill the 3 smaller holes as indicated. Repeat these steps for the left seat cab. 17. Make all final cable connections. At the top section of the rear main cabinet, connect the left and right marquee power cables. At the bottom left rear of the main cabinet, pass the following cables through the large hole in the main cabinet base: the left HDMI monitor cable, the PC audio cables, 3 USB cables, the USB from the I/O board, and the speaker sound cable. Connect the monitor power and PC power cables to the receptacles on the cabinet floor. Next, connect the speaker terminals to the right speaker. Connect the larger speaker interconnect cable to the mating connector on the cabinet floor. Connect the USB cables to the PC. All USB cables and audio cables are labeled. Please be sure to follow the connection guide posted on the back wall of the main cabinet for proper connection. Now connect the audio orange, green, and black cables to the back of the PC. You can now connect the two cabinet power cords to a 115-volt wall receptacle. This completes the Halo Fireteam Raven game assembly.